When the time came for it to be born, the orb fell to earth, but it was picked up first by someone it did not expect. The scientist.
It's 49 to 0 in the Anthropocene. 35 degrees is melting down the Pleistocene. Full fathom flood, the tides are high and still rising. Too late for the turning, too late for the running. I forced them to go, those faithful undergrads who shared my work. For all our breakthroughs and miscalculations, we sadly got nothing to show. Yet my first recall is of them, in awe of my reputation, as I wowed them with every new theory, the entropic superposition and the Nemazine loop with its reverse implications. With these and other wild suppositions, I made their eyes light up in wonder. There they knelt in position, their attention rapt, watching me in my super white cape, pulling the rabbit from the quantum top hat. So when the inevitable came, I practically had to scurry them away. Dutifully they packed up their bags with such caring, despite knowing that the bunkers were now overflowing. You can almost smell it out there, squeezing into those man-made cages, teeming with all of humanity's vices, rank with their strife, their hate and division, thinking these shelters will save them. They believe they're the clean ones, the pure, the special gene ones, not knowing that the pandemic concoctions are already hidden inside all of them. And it'll mutate against all opposition and all attempts at resistance. I know, for we abandoned that cause long ago. Once they're clear of the hatch, I raise my right hand and the airlock seals tight. The world, or what's left of it, exists now on the out, and I'm sealed within this laboratory cocoon, this sterile skin. I guess I secretly knew it would finish like this, alone, entombed, as the last of the power leaches out. The reassuring low hum of extractor kicks in, resyncing the air, siphoning off the impurities, along with the worst of my fears. My neurotab purrs to life in my hand, alerting me to the 5-minute reminder. The Mecta pops its holographic head through the screen and keenly jerks up a thumb. Last call to you and your team. I smile back, before realizing that's the last smile I'll ever give. It should have been savoured for something and someone more special. But then everything will soon be the last one of this and the last one of that. While I wait, I sip my fruit preparation, but a droplet lets fly and lands thick on my coat. There it soaks, seeping into the fibre like blood. But we keep wearing these white laboratory robes, despite centuries passing since we've last dissected or cut through a bone. It helps maintain the theatricality of treatment that's hardwired into the cerebral store, acting like the very best of placebos, where intervention is as good as a cure. Accepting the stain that I now bear, I stand for recognition before the security probe. Accepted. Then a host of expectant faces appear, and I scan them into the lab in their virtual forms. Already there's a jabber of voices before the auto-translate comes to my rescue. Now I can hear what they're all saying. What do we do? What do we tell them? Have you found out the problem? What is the solution? Each question an accusation designed to stab deep. As if I alone can cure this atomic age fallout, the genetic mutation, the spreading disease, to say nothing of the human propensity for cruelty, hatred and greed. Against that there is not, nor ever shall be, any sure resolution, no hope, except love. But love is now just an elixir, beyond the scope of scientific invention. Over time we've produced their vaccines and immunizations, their antibodies, the gene bots, the serums, the inoculations. But now I am the last of my kind, and there is no time, and no firm ground left. We're all mired deep in this man-made affliction. There is no point in trying to give orders to those who are more used to giving them out. So I simply hold up my hand until there is silence, and look long into their silicon eyes that beg me for answers. Then I utter one solitary word, sorry, and instantly kill the call, and soon the only thing that remains is the retinal afterglow of their forms. I imagine the scene now, in each world corner. They'll be retelling the message. No hope from the scientific order. They'll realise now that they've worshipped in error, and made of us a god built in their own image, to which their sacrifices were eagerly made in the belief that it was a reciprocal exchange. And with that, I can now hear the final drawbridge upraising, leaving the rest of humankind to its fate. Seeking comfort, I conjure the latest hollow snap that I received from my beautiful boy. His little face weakly smiles at the lens, but I know now that he is most probably dead, and the last store of my tears are shed. One more glance at the world feed, the addictive serotonin release, when witnessing suffering that's more hopeless than mine. The hours feature is nothing novel to see. The drone follows a nomadic starvation, but then a bright light, an explosion, pixelates them all over my screen. It's the logical algorithmic solution of another sociopathic supercomputer. I roughly swipe the feed to a close and allow the guilt to rush in. And so it will continue until the power has been drained and the silos are empty. But even then, what will be left for those who may re-emerge from the earth? We have unskilled ourselves of the very means of survival, and of the art of crafting beauty, colours, and sound. We handed it all over, in a reliance on power, to the programmed artificial machines. In the worst of all contracts, an alliance now broken, we traded our existence for a pipe dream of ease. Then, without warning, my apocalyptic summations are shattered, as a bright light scorches the outside grey clouds of fog. I find myself reduced to the fetal position, anticipating the explosion that surely will follow. But there's only a thud and a silence. Quickly I don my suit against possible exposure, but its oxygen gauge is registering low. Frantic, I turn out every drawer, searching for a spare, but in vain. Gradually, a fear dawns into day. The last tank has surely been stolen, the final act of my undergrad crew. But there's no time for recriminations, so I just air my frustrations and mouth out the countdown to calculate how long I can take. Outside, I follow the trail of ash scorch and furrow until I find the source nestled deep in the hollows. There it pulses, its glow sustained, an embryonic fallen sun. Compelled, a child coaxed to the flame, I reach out, naked hands set fast, braced for the onset scorch of pain. Yet cool this orb is to the touch, and smooth it slips into my skin. Then, as it winks into a spin, clarity floods me from within, like the numb of winter water. Yet inside the cool and the clear, the spectrometer winks into life, and with the orb securely inside, the readout starts, with nothing surprising. Olivine and iron, cobalt and nickel, all things I've already considered. But then it computes with a substance so strange that I ask it to speculate on the function. The answer is almost too astounding to follow. Synaptic memory banks, primed for haptic transmission. I clasp close the orb, sensing the memories of my final hours, flitting past at the speed of a glance. Then a thought comes as clear as a word, and I know what it is that remains to be done. So switch by switch and panel by panel, I turn off all the outputs of power until everything is silent and still. Then, back in my suit and armed with my spade, I clamber the ash-ridden ridge, digging down to form a roughly hewn pit, exposing the ancient chalk seam. I know there's little left in the tank, but I breathe slow and deep, tasting these last precious moments, then stoop and gently plant in the orb. It throbs with latent promise, a golden seed, in time to emerge on the post-Anthropocene world, where the sun shines again and the air smells so sweet. I give a final secret smile, content that inside this orb my memories will stay secure, and with them it will continue to store what is needful for the human rebirth, starting with the one who comes after, and then for all who hold firm the secrets of how to renew this once wonderful earth.
And so the orb lay in the earth, waiting for the one who went before.